money, little boy. You're scaring me. Here, you can have one.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, come on, Blademan, don't be stingy. Give him more than that.
Oh.
Come on, it's Halloween.
I hope there's going to be enough for the other kids.
Oh, you'll have plenty.
Thanks, Throttle.
You're welcome, little buddy.
Thanks, Blademan.
Okay, you're welcome, little goblin dude, whatever you are.
I'm a little goblin dude. Whoa, there's all kinds of good stuff in here. I can't wait to eat all this candy. Thief! Thief, you stole my candy!
Blademan here, what's your emergency? Oh, hey there, Commissioner, what's up? Really? Okay, we're on it.
What'd the commissioner say, Blademan?
There's some evildoer out there running around stealing candy from little kids. He's ruining Hallerween.
Great. Just what we need, Blademan. A Candy Snatcher. I got an idea. Follow my lead. Get out of the way,
Oh, sorry.
knucklehead. Gee willikers. I got all this nice candy in this bag. A lot of great stuff in here. Full-size candy bars. All kinds of great stuff. I sure hope nobody comes and snatches the candy from me. Crap! Somebody there? Hello? Who is it? I got a lot of great candy in this here bag. Hello? Anybody there? Holy crap!
I scared ya.
What are you doing, Blademan? Scaring me like that. The Candy Snatcher could be near.
I just stopped by to make sure you had enough candy, so I brought you some Smarties. Everybody likes Smarties. Come on, want some Smarties? There you go. Because I know if I was the Candy Snatcher, I'd be taking all the Smarties, because I like Smarties. And I'm sure the Candy Snatcher likes Smarties too.
I think I'm good on Smarties, Blademan, but I'll add them to the bag. Hey, the bag!
It's gone!
There he is, Blademan! Get him!
What about the Smarties?
Come on!
Pterodactyl here, and today's video is going to be on this here Scrub Cadet LTX 1040. You know what would look good? One of our stickers that we sell in our online store that say Scrub Cadet. You got one of these, you need one of these. You got one of these, you need one of these. Alright, so the customer brought it in. They took the deck off. They have the deck. They jerked it off of there. And the complaint was it won't start with the key. And it had no battery in it, so I put a brand new battery in it. So when I hit the key, this is all that happens. That clicking. That's the solenoid. That's the starter solenoid. So the solenoid is bad. It's clicking, but it's not making a connection. So we're going to go over to the bench, and I'm going to show you how to test a small engine tractor solenoid. Are you ready? Let's go over to the bench. Come on. Come on, grass rats. Grab a chair. Get a glass of milk. Let's go over there. Test solenoids. So here's two common solenoids for these small engines for lawnmowers. Now, there's a 3-post or 3-terminal solenoid, and then there's a 4-post or 4-terminal solenoid. Now, this is a universal one because it's got 2 different mounts on it. So these are universal solenoids that I use. Now, sometimes if this bracket is in the way of what you're trying to mount it to, you could just cut it off. So a solenoid is nothing but a heavy-duty switch. It's no different than a wall switch. This is a house wall switch. And when you flip the switch, it makes a connection across these two terminals here. So you got two wires running in here on your wall switch. If you were to take those two wires and touch them together, the light would go on. So these two terminals represent these two terminals. It's just a big switch. That's why a lot of times when you want to jump a solenoid on a lawn tractor, you can just take a screwdriver or something or a piece of metal and go across here and you can get it to start. Because one of these goes to the starter, the other one goes to the battery. So what you're doing is, to get this thing to shift, is you're sending 12 volts to this post. And in this case, either one of these posts is going to be 12 volts. This one's grounded. So if you want to test one, first thing you're going to need is a 12 volt power supply. So we're just going to use a battery. And I've got some jumpers hooked to it. So in the case of this one, I want to put my positive to here. And then this one grounds. This one has to be grounded in order for it to work. So when I touch this to ground, you're going to hear it click like we heard on there. Hear it clicking? Just like on that tractor. So I got a continuity tester here. Continuity tester is just a tester, which you can get all this stuff at the auto parts store. It's just a light. There's a couple of AA batteries in here. I mean batteries. So we just want to see if this is making a connection. So right now it's not making a connection. But when I touch it to ground, the light lights up. So that means this solenoid is good. Now for this one, which has 4 terminals or 4 posts, now this is not polarity sensitive. So I can put the positive on this one or this one, it doesn't matter. And then when I touch the negative to here, it'll shift. You hear the clicking. See, when I touch it to ground, it does nothing. Now the reason they use this one is a lot of times the safety circuit through the tractor, they break the ground on the safeties. So when they break the ground, it's not gonna shift because the ground is broken. And then if I take it and stick it on this one and go over here, it does the same thing. So again, we hook up our continuity tester to test this one. See, the light lights up. So when I go to replace that one on that Scrub Cadet, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to test the solenoid, and you're going to see that even though it's clicking, it's not making the connection internally, and that's why it's bad. So that's all it is. That's how you test these solenoids. Pretty simple. It's just a heavy-duty switch. That's why it's got these heavy-duty terminals on there. Now the one we need for that Scrub Cadet is this one because it's got 4 connections on it. So when you turn the key on the tractor to start it, you're sending 12 volts to this post, and in the case of this one, to this post. So if you're turning the key and you test here with a test light, say, and the light is not lighting up, well, now you're not getting 12 volts to this. Because you have to have 12 volts to this to get this to shift to make the connection, which is going to start the tractor. Like I said earlier, one goes from here to the battery, and the other one goes from here to the starter. So when you jump across there, all you're doing is making a connection, just like this switch here, directly to the starter. So when you turn the key, if you don't have 12 volts to this, it's not going to shift. If you don't have 12 volts to this, it's not going to shift. And you need to find out why. Maybe one of your safeties is bad. Another thing you can do is you can take a jumper wire. You got to figure out which of the 2 wires that are coming to this is the ground wire. You can pull the wires off, and you can take one and run it right to ground, And if you got 12 volts coming to this and it starts cranking, well then you know it's a safety switch. In the case of this one, you got to make sure this is grounded. If you got a bad ground, if this thing isn't grounded right, that could be your problem too. But if you're trying to troubleshoot something and you want to test this part to see if it's good, that's how you test it. 12 volt power supply and a continuity tester. And then you can test it and go, okay, my solenoid's good. Now I need to find out why it's not starting with the key. There's also a fuse in the electrical system. Maybe the fuse is blown. Maybe the fuse is making a bad connection. You might have to check all that. But I'm just showing you how to test these so you can eliminate that, so you're not going and buying a pile of parts trying to figure out what your problem is with your tractor that won't start. You know, you're just not a part. You don't want to be a parts replacer. You want to be a mechanic. So that's how you test these. Very simple. And that's how it works. And there's your dinner. There's your little snack. Gave you a little snack. All right, so now we're going to put this one on that tractor and see if we can get it to crank with the key and if it'll start. Okay, so this Scrub Cadet, they put the solenoid in a very difficult place to get to it. And another thing is, there's also a fuse back here. Now, a lot of my customers, they don't know where the fuse is. And I try to explain to them that it could be underneath the battery, at the back of the mower, it could be under the hood, depending on what Scrub Cadet you got. But here's the fuse, way back here. So if you got one of these mowers and you're curious to know where the fuse is, it's buried in back here. Now the fuse is good, because when we turned the key, the solenoid was clicking. But we just need to get to that solenoid, which I said is not easy to do. So I can probably pull this battery out enough. The cable should be long enough. And I can take out this battery box here. And I can set the battery out of the way here. And make sure it's still tight, the connections. Now, I made up a little wire that I keep because this is in such a bad spot. It's hard to get in there with a screwdriver to jump across these terminals. And if you notice, on a lot of these solenoids, they got a little diverter right there, a little partition. And sometimes it makes it hard to get it to jump across that. So I made this little thing up that I can kind of hook on the stud that's sticking out a little bit, and then I can touch it to get it to crank. So that's what I want to do. Now, when you do that, everything is spinning under here. So you got to be careful, because as I crank this thing over, that drive system is gonna turn. So you're gonna want to make sure that this thing is in neutral, because you don't want to be under there jumping that solenoid and the thing's in gear and it's going to take off. Because what you're doing is you're bypassing all the safeties when you jump across that solenoid. So you got to be careful. Don't be a knucklehead. So I'm going to reach down there and I'm going to feel around where the stud is. And then I'm going to jump across that other stud if I can feel it. Like I said, they don't make this thing easy to get at. Okay, so it's definitely the solenoid. Now, let me get I think I can get in there with this. So now I'm going to disconnect the battery because I don't want to jump or touch anything while I'm under there. And what did I do with my wrenches? Oh, they're over here. So I'm going to disconnect the battery. Like I said, this is a kind of a poorly designed piece of equipment. A lot of lawnmowers, the solenoid's real easy to get at. Not this one. Plus that'll give me a little more room too by taking the battery out. Alright. Now that's all out of the way. Now hopefully I can get to these two bolts, which are 3/8. Sure, I got it going the right way. Nope, I need an extension. An extension. It's going to be kind of hard to see and get at. So if you notice, the ground wire, the ground wire for the battery is also, bolted to that solenoid mount. So here, now we can see all this. Like I said, they don't make it easy to get at any of this stuff. So we can pull these off. Again, it doesn't matter which post it goes on when you hook it back up. Pull them off. So this orange wire is going to be your 12 volt coming from the key switch, and green is usually ground. It's either green or black. But again, don't worry about the polarity on it when you go to hook it back up. Now I need to get, looks like a 7/16 so we could take these off. So another thing to check is to make sure that these connections are tight. Got to make sure these are tight, because if they're loose and you don't get good contact, it may make the solenoid click, or it may do nothing because you're not getting enough contact. They got to be tight. And here's that fuse that I was talking about. See it? See where it's buried in here? Now who's going to know that's back there? You can't even get at it. You think they would have it, the wire's a little bit longer so you could see it. And if you look on this is the one that goes to the battery. This is the battery cable. I'm gonna run it through here. I kind of had it wrapped around. And there's a small red wire, and that's coming directly off the fuse. And it's crimped right to the other end. So these go on the solenoid. All right, so let's go over to the bench and test this solenoid. Okay, I got my negative hooked up. I've got my continuity tester hooked up. So when I touch this, see, we heard it clicking, but this isn't lighting up. Oh, there it goes. Nope. It did for a second there. Yeah, this thing is bad. Oh, there it goes. Every once in a while. It's bad. Bet you if we were to take it all apart, grind these rivets off and get inside there, I bet you the contacts are all dirty. You could probably sand them, clean them. If you wanted to go through all that, if you were in a pinch, you could do that. Grind that off, take this apart, and then you could rivet it back together or put some screws in there. but I would just buy a new one. Unless I was out in the middle of nowhere in Alaska. Okay. So this one's got these little sleeves on there, which you may or may not need. If you don't need them on this particular one, you just take them off. It's just to take up any kind of slop in the terminal that's on there. And of course it's got bigger nuts on there. So now I got to get a 1/2 inch. They're all different. So it was mounted like this underneath there. So I'm going to put this one here. Make sure I got room. And I'm going to put this one here. Like I said, this is not mechanic friendly, this Scrub Cadet, when it comes to changing this solenoid. We got to make sure them are tight when we get done here. And hopefully these wires are going to be long enough. Because like I said, this is a universal solenoid. Can I get more length out of them? Probably just going to have to bend these up. They gonna make it? I don't know. Yeah, they made it. All right, now I gotta tighten up. The 2 posts. I'm going to have to use a shallow 1/2 inch to get in there. Not a lot of room. All right. As they say in Germany, it's gut and tight. Here's our ground. Boy, there's all kinds of stuff under here. I gotta move this cable. I gotta loosen this back up. Yeah, this is kind of stretching it here. All right, I'm gonna swap these. So I got a little bit more length. Try to spin them. Try to spin the cables so they're in front of this bracket. I had them coming back the other way and that was making it more difficult. There should be enough here with this battery cable. So yeah, that was my mistake. Make sure the cables are to the front. Now I can get in there and tighten it better. Gotta have a good connection. All right. Now, that gave me a lot more room. Now I'm going to take one of these and get it started. And then the second one will be the one that's going to be tying the ground for the battery to the frame. At least you got a little bit of room in here. You can get your hand in here. So this is the negative battery cable. I just want to get it started if I can. And I don't want to cross thread it. Because this is only threaded through this thin piece of metal. If we cross threaded it, we'd have to put a nut on the back side. Alright, I got them started. Alright, now I can tighten them up with the ratchet. Alright, new solenoid installed. It's a little tricky, but it can be done. Now, make sure that your wires aren't going to be touching anything or hanging, or that they got a lot of stress on them when you got done doing this. Make sure none of your terminals came off the solenoid. Now I can drop the battery box back in. And we'll put the battery in. And make sure you hook it up right. Red to the plus, black to the minus. We've had people hook them up before wrong. We had the one guy replace the solenoid, and he hooked the negative of the battery to the other side, the other post of the solenoid. And he hooked the other positive to the other side of the solenoid. And he brought it in, and he said he couldn't get it to start. And we hit the key, and the thing started on fire. Alright, I need my other wrench. I heard it fall. Where did it go? There it is. Make sure the cables are tight. You gotta have good connections. You would not believe how many customers come in. It keeps killing the battery. I go, the cables are loose. They are. I just put that battery in there. I go, well, you didn't tighten it very tight. I go, they gotta be tight. Happens all the time. Okay. Now, when I hit the brake, hit the key, it's cranking over. It's not starting. So this was another thing they told me when they dropped it off. Hasn't ran in a couple of years. So let's just see if it needs a little help since it's been sitting so long. Let's see if we need to give it a little shot of some dinosaur farts. Where's my fart can? Here's my fart can. Put the parking brake on. Nope. Let's take a peek in the carburetor. Where's my wrench? Oh, let me turn the key off. Mr. Cameraman doesn't want to die of carbon monoxide. He's going to open the door. Alright, so I got to disconnect this anti-backfire valve. And then I've had to make a special wrench. Had to cut it, grind it thin. And actually put a little bend in it. This is 13 millimeter, this side's 12. It's usually 13 or ½ inch. So you can get in there. Let's see what's going on inside the carburetor. Oh. And it stinks real bad. If we had smell-o-vision right now, you'd be able to smell that old gas. And if you know what old gas smells like, it smells terrible. So we got the green goblins in there. Let the gobbler get it. The green gobbler. Alright, so the needle is stuck. There we go. Now there's fuel coming through. Since this is gravity fed, it's just going to leak gas everywhere. I got to get a container. I want to test this fuel solenoid or this anti-backfire valve. And to do that, since there's only one wire going to it, you have to ground it. So I'm going to ground it against here. And when I turn the key, that plunger should go down. So it's working. Alright, so the needle was stuck. I cleaned the float bowl. Now it's still got that old fuel in the tank. The fuel, uh-oh, 20's here. Alright, I was afraid this was going to happen. I put it all back together, tightened it down, and I took off my fuel line pinchers, and it's running out of the float, or the throat of the carburetor here. So that means that needle and seat isn't sealing. Now, I got two choices. I could try to take that thing apart and try to clean it and buy a kit. I think the kit is $50. And put a kit in that carburetor, and it may still leak. If I buy the OEM carburetor for this Crawler Courage, depending on where you buy it, it could be almost $200. $198 was the most. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a HIPAA carburetor on it. Carburetor. Because I'm not going to sit there and mess around. Take this thing apart, clean it, put it back together, put it on my test stand, order a $50 kit when I can get a carburetor from HIPAA for $15.98. And I've got a bunch of these. I've been using them for a while, and I've had good luck. I haven't had any of them come back. So, got the carburetor. Comes with the gasket. And it's got a different solenoid setup, which is real easy to wire in because they give you the butt connector with it. All right, so let me get a 10 millimeter and pull this carburetor off. Disconnect that little spring. It's a little difficult to get at. All right, got that off. Get that out of there. Get that out of there. And there's our ground wire. Which has got a star washer on the one side, so it makes sure it makes a good connection. I'm going to need this little bushing out of the old carburetor. This little plastic bushing. Because the Hippo one doesn't come with that bushing. Unless it's in this bag here, and I didn't see it. Actually, they threw 2 of these in there. So I got a bonus one. They give you 2 new gaskets. This gasket still got the cellophane on it from the factory. Or no, that was on the back side. Okay, okay. The gaskets are stuck to the carburetor. Good thing I seen that. Put that on. And we're gonna hook that in. Now you gotta line that thing up with the slot in the rod. There's a slot, you know, on this bushing, and that rod's gotta go between that. And let's get our choke hooked up. And I gotta hook up this little spring. That little spring helps to take any kind of slop out of that throttle rod. So it's important to have that, because sometimes if that spring breaks or if you don't hook it back up, it'll surge. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes it'll surge. All right. Let's hook up the ground. Alright, slide that on. I'm going to cycle the throttle control to make sure I'm getting full choke, and I am. Okay. Well, this Hippo one doesn't have a spring on it. Oh, our little bushing came out. So this must be a little bit different carburetor, because it doesn't have a return spring like this one. Yeah, this one's got a return spring. I think this is a little bit different carburetor, I think. It said it was for this engine. see what I can do to fix that and make it work. I thought it was just going to be a direct bolt on here, and I guess not. Now what happened with this spring? Okay, there we go. I think I'll just add a spring to the choke to pull it back. But let's see if it's going to work and if it's going to run correctly. I'm curious, like a cat. I can plug that right into there. Now a little bit of metal is sticking out right there. I don't like that, because if that touches, it's gonna create a short. So I need to fix that too. You can put some electrical tape on there, heat shrink tubing, some of that electrical tape in a bottle, liquid tape, which is what I'm going to use, because that'll be faster and easier than getting Mr. Heat Gun out and having to listen to him. Don't get me wrong, I like Mr. Heat Gun. Then I got to get him, wake him up, get a piece of heat shrink tubing. I got that in there right? There we go. Come on. Come on, Mr. Connector. There we go. All right. I'm just going to stick these on there without putting that whole air filter assembly back on. I just want to see if it's going to run right. Like I said, it said that this carburetor was for this engine. Just got to get the choke to return. I don't want that hitting the muffin. Let me put the parking brake on and see if it'll start. This is still that old fuel in there too. I'll have to put a new fuel filter on it, but I just want to see if this is going to work. Idle's pretty good. Other than that choke not returning, like I said, I can add a spring. I've got another one of these carburetors. I'm going to go get it. Maybe that one's bad. Maybe it's supposed to spring back. I'll be right back. So yeah, it does the same thing. It doesn't spring back. And I can't swap the one from here, this choke shaft, to here because it's different. See how it's got this flat spot here? And this one's on a plastic shaft. so I can't swap it. So I'm going to have to get creative and rig up a spring. So I got this spring assortment. This little battery sticker on there. I think I might have got this from Rotary, but I'm sure you can find one online. It's got all different springs in there, different tensions. So I'm thinking if I just hook a spring to here, to the end of here, like so, that should take care of our problem. Look at that. It's on there pretty good. I don't think it's going to fall off. But you know what I could do? Just to ensure that it's not going to fall off. Let me get Mr. Wizard Wheel. But I need to move this tractor because we've got a lot of gas on the floor and I'm going to be making sparks. I know that'd make for a good video. Fire. Fire, Scarecrow. If this was my tractor, I would burn it. I'm going to grind a little notch. A little notch. So the end of that spring can go in that notch. I need to make it a little bigger. Just so it's got something to hold on to. Everyone needs a hand to hold on to. All right. Let me put the air filter back on. So there's the workaround. Hey, when you're spending $15 on a carburetor and it runs good and you got to make that little improvement, it's still cheaper than buying the OEM one for $200. Wouldn't you agree? And for $15, you know, you might want to buy two of them. Two carburetors. If you feel that, well, what if that one don't last? Well, then get two of them for $30. And keep one in the box in your garage. And if you have trouble with it, you got a brand new one on the shelf. All you got to do is swap it out. And you're still money ahead. But like I said, I've been using these for quite a while now. Just want a little bit of a crimp on there. I've been using these for quite a while now, and I haven't had any comebacks. I haven't had any problems. And for as cheap as they are, I would just give the customer another one if one leaked. Get the gaskets and everything. This gasket from Kroller is probably $2, $3 alone from them. When are they going to wise up over there? Smarten up, Cookie. That's what a friend of mine would say all the time. Smarten up, Cookie. Cookie the Clown? Put the gasket on there, Cookie. Smarten up, Cookie. Remember Cookie the Clown from the Bozo Show? Bozo Circus is on the air. Alright, I got it all back together. I still got to put a fuel filter on it yet. I haven't done that yet. And I checked the oil, which I always do. I may not show it on camera, but I do. And the oil is brand new in this. Somebody changed the oil on it, and the air filter wasn't that bad. So I think that solenoid went out, and they just parked it for 2 years and just left it. But we got that carburetor on there. Like I said, it's a lot easier and simpler to go that aftermarket route a lot of times. But you got to make sure you're getting good aftermarket products. And I feel pretty confident in those HIPAA products. Now, I did have to make a modification because it, you know, didn't have that return on there. But you saw what I did, and that was pretty quick and simple. You know, you can get these springs at the hardware store. They'll have an assortment like this there. You go there, pick one out if you don't want to buy the whole assortment. But you saw what I had to do to get it to work, and how to hook up that wire was pretty simple. And I'm going to start it again. Now it's surging a little bit. That may be because I'm running it on that old fuel, but I believe there is a carburetor adjustment on here. I do believe there's an adjustment somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm probably going to have to put fresh fuel in it. It ran smooth with the air filter off, and it's smoking a little bit because there's a bunch of crap on the muffin. Well, there was a bug. I looked in the fuel tank, and there were some bugs in there, and one of them was right around where the fuel leaves the gas tank. He was sitting right on top of that outlet through there, and I used my oil extractor to get in there and suck that bug out of there. All right, well, I drained out all that nasty fuel. I put the new fuel filter on there. Let's see if that surging went away. And as Elskin says, fire it up, fire it up, fire it up. Hey, shut up! I'm gonna fire it up. There you have it, grass rats. We fixed another one. Well, if you like this YouTube video, subscribe, hit the like button. Also, hit the notification button if you want to see future videos. Follow me with your Scrub Cadet, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Go to our web store, check out what we got there. There might be something you want, like this beautiful shirt. You know where this shirt would look good? On your little scrawny little body. And maybe like a spark plug necklace too. And a hat. Get a hat too. Get all this stuff. Get it all. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Fixing Scrub Cadet! Jeez, I fixed so many of these things. You'd think I was a Scrub Cadet dealer. What does that tell you? Got so many of these things in my shop. People are like, "Are you a Scrub Cadet dealer?" I go, "No." "Well, that's not a good sign when you got that many Scrub Cadets in your yard." I go, "Yeah, that's not a good sign." You know what that tells me? It tells me it's not a very good lawnmower. Maybe you like yours.
I've got all the town's candy here at my disposal. And no one can stop me.
I got an idea, Blade Man. You jump down first, and when he goes after you, I'll jump down and land on him.
Now that sounds like a great idea.
Ah! The Candy Snatcher!
You won't be snatching candy anymore, Candy Snatcher! Your candy snatching days are over.
Let's get down there, Blade Man. Come on, quick. Hurry, Blade Man. We gotta get down there fast. This is as fast as this thing goes?
That's as fast as it goes.
Get him, Blade Man.
You can't stop me. I'm all jacked up on candy. Ha ha.
He's gonna be hard to stop, Blade Man. You ever been on a candy high? He's got superhuman strength.
Holy candy wrapper, Throttle, you were right. This guy's got superhuman strength. How are we gonna stop him?
You gotta fight candy with candy, Blade Man.
Help, Throttle! What are you doing over there?
Woo! I had to get on his level, Blade Man. Bring it on! Woo! Your candy snatching days are over, Candy Snatcher. Got him, Blade Man.
Trick or treat, scumbag. I think we still have time to save Hallerween and get this candy back to the kids.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long night, Blade Man. You might want to hit some of these Smarties before we head out.
Good call, smarty pants.
Don't tell the commissioner.